Sean Riley began running a 19-room motel and cottage business in Wells, Maine in 1982 with his wife Dana while teaching high school special ed, moving to a large condotel 3 years later and then to a 130-room hotel, restaurant, and marina. He switched full-time into the hotel business, giving up his career as a teacher. The owner ran into financial trouble in the late 80s and put the hotel on the market. Although tough, Sean moved to Freeport to work as a front desk manager, a step down from the general manager. Dana and Sean continued to work together and moved their family. Again, the early 90s caused this owner of that hotel to run into trouble, but they hung in there and worked for a bank until the current partners bought their first hotel and bought Sean. Main Course Hospitality Group, MCHG, was a restaurant company with one hotel. After being successful with this hotel, they built another branded hotel and another, and so on. Over time, they divested all the restaurants. Their first Marriott was in 2004 and the first Hilton in 2006. His roles went from FOM to GM to Director of Hotel Ops to COO and finally to President and CEO. As of today, Main Course Hospitality Group has 20 hotels, 750 associates throughout New England and in Florida. They have 2 under construction and 3 others in development. He is most proud of the culture that they, as an organization, have created. Not me, as he says, but us. He often says that if he gets hit by a bus, the culture will live on, and that's a testament to Sean's leadership. It is so much bigger than Sean Riley, he says. His purpose is to positively impact lives. Simply put, it's a major focus of every day of his life. Associates, guests, communities, and states can be impacted. As a team, they serve on 6 advisory boards with Marriott and Hilton. But it all started with the Maine Innkeepers Association in 1983. He has found his why, and his advice to everyone is to find their why. The how will be so much easier and more fun once you have a purpose. Welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, a podcast all about growing your network and building your brand through traditional and digital networking techniques. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven and CEO of Marshall Communications. I've been strengthening brands through PR for over 35 years, and now I'm celebrating the success of executives, influencers, business owners, and entrepreneurs from all around the world, all of whom have cultivated their brands and broadened their networks through traditional and digital networking methods. Each week, I interview one of these interesting and influential individuals and provide an opportunity for you, the PR Maven Nation, to gain insights from their strategies and stories. So stay tuned for this week's episode, and thanks for listening. So, Sean, tell us about your career and how you got into it in the first place.
Well, it's kind of funny. I started as a teacher, and while I was teaching, I was going to look for a summer job. And this gentleman asked me if I wanted to work in a motel. It was 19 rooms, 7 motel rooms and 12 cottages. We did everything from start to finish, and then the place was going to be sold in a few years. So I did that summers and weekends and nights. And then we moved on to a place that was a little bigger. It was the next one was about 40 rooms. Did that for a few years, and then I decided to give up teaching and go into it full-time at the Nonanum Resort in Kennebunkport. But right after I gave up my teaching, the place went on the market. So I had to search. So I took a big cut in pay and went to Freeport, Maine, and joined a group that was going to be a growing company. I thought, wow, this is pretty exciting. But that gentleman had some financial issues. So we went back to the bank. And one of the things that was cool for me, though, is that because I started working with a management company and realized how to work out of situations. So I got to do that. But each time I'm questioning when I had a job or not. And then it got bought by 2 gentlemen that now I still work with, I'm partners with, and we've been together for 30 years right now. And currently we own 20 hotels throughout New England and Florida.
How many?
20.
Wow.
It's the old Muffin Man days when I used to march in the parades and make muffins. It's changed a bit now, but
I know it. You've come a long way, baby.
Yeah, it's been exciting. And we have 800 associates in our company, and we have mostly Hilton and Marriott properties. We have a few independents. So we have expanded down to Florida. We have one hotel open, another one starting construction.
Where are those?
Clearwater Beach on the West Coast.
Very nice.
And then the other one is Madeira Beach. That's a cool one. That'll be a mixed-use property with residential, retail, restaurant, and a marina, 100-slip marina. So it'll be cool.
And will you be the general manager?
No. I'm president of the company, CEO. And I don't know if anyone hire me to be a general manager anymore. I don't have the abilities of that.
Plus, you'd have to listen to somebody else tell you what to do, right?
Well, I still do at home.
Hats off to Dana,
That's
your
right.
lovely wife.
That's right. Yeah, no. So then, the career kind of went. We had one hotel, then a couple hotels, then a few, and then we kept growing. And we were stuck. We're in Maine mostly, but then we moved into New Hampshire. We're in Massachusetts. We have another hotel under construction in Mass now.
Where's that?
Salem, Mass. That's a mixed use with residential, retail, and indoor parking, and a restaurant. And then that's the biggest one. That's a lot of money, a lot of work, but it's going to be exciting. It's a great location, great city.
Oh, you'll have a lot of fun at Halloween time there too, won't you?
It is crazy. I mean, they say they have like 50,000 people that come through that city. Not even Halloween. The first Halloween that will be there, which is 20. They told us, well, Halloween's always busy, and they said, okay. They said, well, no, it's going to be really busy because it's the full moon, and it's something else, and it's like the first time it's ever been in anybody's life that'll be a full moon on Halloween. So it's going to go crazy.
Oh, wow. You're going to have to plan your costume for that.
We're going to raise the rate. I know that.
You're thinking like a true business person.
That's right. That's right.
I'm thinking first of rates and second the costume.
That's right. Yeah. We'll be able to afford the costume after we get the rate.
Right, a fancy one.
Yeah.
So this is a question that I always like to ask successful people who have been working for a while, as you have. If you had it to do all over again, what would you do differently?
I don't think I'd do anything differently. I think a lot of the bumps that we went through and the things that happened and the ups and downs of the business, the cycles that we've gone through, they've taught me to be who I am and have helped me weather the cycles. I mean, whether it be the bankruptcy that I went through with one gentleman or the guy who just lost his business and all of those things taught me a lot about it, and the good as well, all the fun things. And I think the fact that I would take a couple steps back and I spent more time, if I wasn't running a little motel, 19 rooms, and I did the maintenance myself, I wouldn't be able to talk to the engineers that we have in our company. So I learned so much from working to the bottom up that it made a big difference. And I think as a leader of our company, I can speak from reality, not from a book.
Right. And I mean, you've gone big. I mean, you could have stayed with a small 19-room motel and made the muffins and done everything. But I mean, are you glad that you went big as you have?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that people say, what, like a person like you in your position, what keeps you awake at night? And I think to me, it's losing the culture that we have. We've established as a team a culture that's just, admired by many. And people say, "Oh, Sean, if you went, it'd go." I said, "No, it's way bigger than Sean Riley. It's something that's made of the 800 people we have in our company and the 65 leaders. I mean, a lot of our leaders have been with us 15, 20, 30 years. So we've all created that together. And, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, the culture's going to live."
Well, I'm sure you have laid the carpet for those managers and leaders to walk down the aisle.
But kind of you're back to your question. I think the thing that really keeps me awake is as we grow, how do we keep it? How do we not change who we are? And I do everything I can. That's really what I spend my time doing is building a culture. And somebody mentioned, we were talking earlier about a CIO, and people call me sometimes the CIO in our company too. And that's definitely not for technology. It was Chief Inspiration Officer. And I try to be that. And when one of my biggest goals is to not be ever able to be asked to be on Undercover Boss. I don't want people to not know Sean. I want the housekeeper to come up and call me Mike Sean. "Hey Sean, how's it going?" And they know who I am. That's important to me because that's what our culture's about. No one's above anybody.
And along the theme of this podcast, you have built those relationships both in person and online. And along those lines, you've been doing a lot with social media. What are you doing with social media to build and maintain relationships?
I think to me, my purpose in life is positively impact lives. And that's what our company's purpose is. And if we do that, we've somehow got to get that message out there. And social media is one of the best ways for us to do that without tooting your own horn, but if people see that the president of the company is giving out popsicle on a hot August day, or this, one of the operation people going to visiting a hotel up in Burlington, Vermont to bring cookies, and those kinds of things are what people want to see. And when they see that, they realize that these guys aren't just joking. I mean, why would the CEO go to Bangor and drop off popsicles? I visited many hotels on Christmas, and I think it just says something. And I think that is, to me, one of the things that we can promote through social media about our company. Now, we do other things on social media for our businesses as well. That's really to send our message of who we are and what we stand for. But I mean, we do Instagram and Facebook. And I know my kids always tell me, "Oh, Dad, that's for old people." But I can Snap and I do Instagram. So.
Yeah, so you do Snapchat?
Yeah.
And what do you put on Snapchat?
Stupid pictures. Actually, we had a couple of years ago, we had our company annual event. We have about 150, 160 people go to it. And I told everybody they had to have Snap, and we're going to be snapping that night. Anybody who didn't, I was going to call up on stage and ask them to do something or whatever. So everybody was doing it. All kinds of people never had an idea what to snap. But we had 75 of our associates all up there snapping and learning. So I think I had the mantra when it comes to technology or any of that stuff is that we have to stay relevant. I'm no longer a kid anymore. I'm over 60, and but I say, it doesn't matter our age if you stay relevant with that kind of stuff. I mean, our associates are millennials. I'm a baby boomer. I still have to stay relevant and be able to communicate with them in their style. But there's other people in our company that have to keep communicating their style, and I handwrite notes. So you got to take people from where they're at. And so social media is important, but that networking you talk about outside of social media is just as important. It's getting to know people on a personal basis, even the millennials, or the seniors.
That's right. Well, you're meeting people where they're at, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I admire you for that. And I think that the fact that your life is in alignment now, I love that you said that your personal vision and mission is in alignment with your professional. And I think that if you are in alignment, everything else falls into place.
It's true. I think so many people, people ask, well, what do you think I should do? How do I do it? And, it's important for people to know what they stand for, what's important to them. Because in a career, it's not necessarily making money for me. I mean, I make money and I'm treated fairly and we do well. But that's not the big deal. I had an opportunity to leave the company 7, 8 years ago. It's been more money and more opportunity and all kinds of stuff. And I did it. But I said, you know what? I can't. I love what I do. I love the people and the culture we have. And that, to me, at this point, is far more important than any kind of money that could be thrown at me. And so it was an awakening thing to make that deal. I mean, I looked at it. I said, what the heck? It was made me feel good. But it made me feel even better when I decided to stay where I am.
That's really nice. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that people in your company, those 800 associates of yours, are glad that you stayed there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they all knew that I did. But I think, I tell other people, it's always good to look. And I tell people when they're thinking of making a career change, it's okay if it fits who you are. If it fits into your life and your lifestyle, it's good. If it doesn't, then, don't get dazzled by diamonds or cash. Although that's helpful in some cases, if you're not happy, it's not going to make it in the long run.
That's right. Yeah, because we spend a lot of time at work.
Yes, absolutely.
We might as well like it.
That's right.
So what are some of the obstacles to success in your career, and how have you overcome them?
Well, besides a few bankruptcies and sales 3 or 4 times, and my family moved many, many times, the obstacles, and I personally had a land deal that I had, and we almost lost that because of the partner I had. And, that would have been a financial hit to us, but it's allowed us by networking. I mean, my father used to tell me about networking. He'd always say, Sean, you need to know people. It's who you know. And I just thought, that's so crass. That's not right. And I thought, well, so over time, I realized what he meant was you have to build relationships and networks. It doesn't mean they're going to buy me anything or get me something or use people. I always thought he was using people, but it's not. It's knowing people, and they could be a resource for you. And that did help us out of that financial thing. He knew a lawyer, he knew this, and so we were able to get out of it. And that's helped us allowed us to buy into half a dozen hotels, 10 hotels. And so that networking piece is so critical in my life because everything I've done in my life has gone because of someone I knew. I knew I got one of those jobs, 2 or 3 of those jobs because I had been giving to some organization or something, and they turned me on to another job. And I think, so much of that giving out to other people comes back to you. And you don't give out because you want to get something bad. You just give out, and at some point it's going to help. It's going to come back. And I think that's the positive things in my life that I've learned. And my father told me that 50 years ago, but I didn't listen. But he was right.
That's right. Well, you said that the purpose of your life is to be of service, and if that is if you're emanating that,
Yeah,
then the universe will deliver back to you. I'm
yeah.
convinced of
And
it.
I think, I was a teacher and I taught special ed, high school special ed, and I taught kids who had very different learning styles. But that just helped me build who I was going to be now. And that giving back then, I didn't know that that was my mission. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know my mission was going to be to possibly impact lives, but I think I did. I know I had some students that that have stayed in touch with me for 50 years now. And that's a great thing. And that means a lot more than the pay I get today or the pay I get. Well, it's a lot more. I didn't get much pay back in those
Yeah,
days.
right.
But it means a lot when those things. Maybe I'm philosophical in my mature ages, but it does make a difference. If you can make people smile and have a good time, what else is there?
That's right. Well, I think that the fact that you were a teacher probably has really helped you in managing people too, because you've taught them skills and values.
Absolutely. And I think when I was a teacher, I used to. I probably wasn't the most normal teacher. If a kid did something wrong and I'd be sitting there talking with them, I'd smack them in the back of the head. And just joking. But it was, I'd probably get sued now if I did
Yeah,
that.
right.
But I also, but I had positive statements up and along the wall, and I always talk about that kind of stuff. And I do the same thing today. I was inspiring kids back then, or trying to. And when I hear back from someone who is successful business people or masters in counseling, it makes me feel great. And I feel that so rewarding. The 8 years that I taught are all rewarded by things like that.
That's right. Exactly. Now, have you built your network intentionally, online and in person? Have you gone out, as your father told you, to meet people intentionally, or has it just kind of happened on its own?
I think I did. Well, we'll separate the two. The personal network. I think that one I've really worked hard at, because I think it. Always you always want to associate with people who are kind of where in life you want to be, or things you emulate about people, and that's who you want to associate with people. And it doesn't mean I don't, treat all our work with our housekeepers and maintenance and all. But if I want to be someone like successful, like a person at Marriott corporate headquarters, I need to be around them. Or in Maine, it was the Maine innkeepers and the successful peoples like Peter Daigle and Danny Lafayette and all that group. I would hang out with them because I could learn from them. And you associate with people who have a different level than you can gain and learn from them. I hung out with you. I listened to you over the years. You're not as old as me, but I hung out with you. We hung out, and a lot of people. And everything I learned, I'm not that smart. I always tell people I'm not really that smart. But what I do know is I know how to build relationships with people, and those relationships at times always pay off. Now, on the social media side, personally, I don't think I do anything for that, for my personal. It's pictures of my grandson. And I don't care if anybody likes it or not. I'm putting them on there. But in the business side, I think I go back to that. It is intentional to build a network of people that understand what we stand for. And whether it be vendors or associates or new people wanting to be leaders in our company, when they see things about a blog about my father, or they see something about delivering popsicles on a certain day, or they see posts in Facebook or Instagram about on Christmas and Thanksgiving, I call all our hotels. Now, when we had one hotel and two hotels, that was no big deal. I call all 3 shifts. Now we have 20 hotels, and I call 3 shifts. That's 60 calls on Thanksgiving. Thank you for working today. I appreciate the hard work. And I know it's a holiday, and we talk for a minute or two, and then I hang up. There's number 19, 18, 17, 16. Get through, and then I get done. And then open presents, Christmas. Then I go back, make 20 more after the next shift. And then before dinner, it's pretty tough. The end of Thanksgiving, after eating all day,
Oh,
my
God.
last half a dozen calls are not that good.
Yeah, right.
But I think when people come to that, they see a post like that or something on Facebook or a blog, then they say, that's the kind of company I want to be part of. That's somebody who fits into my life. And so, yeah, I guess that's intentional as well, but it's really just proud of what we have as a company and who we are.
Right, exactly. And again, it aligns with your purpose in life, which you said that you've got in alignment both personally and professionally. That's awesome. So how do you measure success in your PR, social media, and marketing?
When you hear back from people, when you hear back from your associates, when you hear back when they make comments on the main course side. Now with the main course Facebook page, it's really geared more towards our associates. Other people see it and like it and pay attention to it, but it's geared toward them. So when I know that there's comments coming back and people are liking things that are important to us, it says, they're looking at it, they like it. They think it's a good thing. They say that's what we stand for. On the business side, we work with both Marriott and Hilton on digital marketing, and through SEO and SMO and all that stuff. And I think that stuff is very, very easy to track and see how well you do. with when someone clicks on clicks on an ad or clicks on the banner or something, and then it goes to your website. Then you can say, okay, went to my website and they made a reservation. Then you can say they stayed. Then you can say, so the return on investment is 6 to 1, 7 to 1, 10 to 1, or whatever. So we track those kind of things. I haven't totally figured out how to track and figure out Instagram yet. I did listen to Megan, the last
Megan
podcast.
Crowder, who is the Instagram guru at Marshall Communications.
So I did listen to it, and I'm going to go do some research, and I'll probably do one of those quick emails. Hey, it's nice to meet you. Want to have a cup of coffee? But she was, that was great. So we haven't tracked the social media much, other than we know when you see the likes and the follow through. So we haven't, we see how many you reach and all that stuff, but we just know we need to be there. We don't have it totally figured out yet.
Yeah, well, nobody really has it totally figured out. I think the important thing is just to keep serving. Again, your mission in life of serving people is totally relevant on social media too, because if you serve your audience, they're going to stay with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that she said something like that in her podcast, that you are serving those people. And I think if you find a way to serve people, at some point it's going to come around.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And I mean, if you have a heavy level of engagement with your audience, it doesn't matter if you have a small audience or a large audience. I mean, the Kardashians have huge followings, but those people aren't necessarily all totally loyal. They're just curious.
Right.
But I have a feeling that people who are following you on social, they trust you. They know, like, and trust you.
Well, and there is a difference in the two. When you have, like, typically, I guess because I'm the only one who gets up at 3 a.m, has nothing to do but Facebook or Instagram. I do get up at 3 a.m.
Tanner, our engineer here, is saying he also gets up at 3 a.m. So
yeah,
you guys could hang out.
Well, that's good. I don't typically text people at that time of day because I'm afraid I'll go bleep and go to bed. So,
Yeah.
so I stay away from that. But I think I do a lot of the Instagrams for 3 or 4 different of our hotels, and the same thing with the Facebook. And all new hotels I will do, I'll start off and I network in the community. I build it up to a certain level and then hand it off to the property managers. But it is something that takes time.
Yeah.
And it's
What time do you go to bed at night?
well, I can sleep. Well, on a good night, I'll get to bed 8:30, 9 o'clock, and get up but I'm more mature now, and guys my age will get up once or twice a night, but then I get up and I start thinking about stuff, and I'm thinking, what I could do, and I say, my son's more. I'll send some more Facebook messages. But so I do keep pretty busy.
Oh, that's good.
At the gym at 4:30 usually, 4:30 to 5.
Wow. Now, do you go to one of those 24-hour gyms?
No, they open at 4, so I don't.
Oh, all right.
Those mornings I get up at 2 and I can't figure out what to do. I go to Planet Fitness too, and they are 24/7. So.
Yeah, that's great. Good for you. Well, we're going to take a short commercial break now with Sean Riley here, and we're going to hear a little bit about the Marshall Plan, and we'll be back in just a moment. This podcast is all about growing your network in order to strengthen your brand. In my 30-plus year marketing and PR career, I have seen many organizations waste their precious time and money on marketing because they're trying to obtain success without any strategy to achieve their goals. So many organizations and companies suffer from what I call the shiny object syndrome, trying every new fad that comes down the pike. That's why I created the Marshall Plan 15 years ago. We have done over 100 of these plans for clients, helping them to get out of their day-to-day routine to identify their goals, solidify their brand story, focus in on their ideal customer avatar, analyze their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and create a realistic budget and measurement dashboard. We create the Marshall Plan collaboratively with our clients over the course of 3 months. We have a 65-step process to create a highly customized, actionable plan. And it's not like we come in and say, we are the consultants from away and we know everything. Instead, we come in and say, let's sit down at the table with your leadership team and we'll bring our expertise in what's working in PR and marketing. And our client team brings their knowledge of what's working in their organization. and together we come up with a really amazing plan. For many, it's been a transformative process. I have watched how teams have come together and their faces light up because they have such a sense of accomplishment and they're so excited about the future of their organization. We help our client figure out the best way to implement the plan, sometimes using people within their organization and sometimes with our help. We would love to chat with you about how you can expand your network and achieve your marketing goals with a Marshall Plan. Go to marshallpr.com/MarshallPlan to learn more about the process, or better yet, send me an email at nancy@prmaven.com and we'll set up a time to talk and get started. And now back to our conversation. Welcome back, PR Maven Nation, and we're going to continue our interview now with Sean Riley from Main Course Hospitality Group. And Sean, most successful people have a network of fans and followers surrounding them, either online or in person or both. Tell me, how have you built your network of fans and followers, and has it been a conscious goal or has it happened on its own?
Yeah, I think two sides. The fan thing made me nervous because I think I don't want to talk about fans. It's like, oh, they have Facebook fans. That's okay. But I think personally, I think my goal in life was to get out and see people and talk to people. And I think when I owe my career to a lot of the people I learned from. I never had no formal education in the hotel business. I just learned from someone, and I'd reach out. I always reach out to people who were in a place that I wanted to be and associate with those people, and I could learn so much from them. So I did that for years, and I did it in Maine. And now that we're more multiple states and 7 states, I've formed that kind of relationship with the Marriott headquarters folks. And so I became on the board of directors of the Marriott and then committees with Marriott. So I got to know a lot of people who are now 100, 200, 300 hotels. So my network of people is at a different level than it was when I had one motel. And then I crossed over. I said, geez, half our hotels are Hilton. And I feel bad that I'm not giving back to Hilton like I am with Marriott. So I was asked to join a committee with Hilton. So I've been on a couple with them as well. So what it does, it just puts me in a position where I can have more people that I can associate with and ask questions from. I'm going to have a general managers conference, and I've chosen 5 people that I think are really great leaders, and our leaders are going to have a chance to interview them. I think similar to what you're talking today, interview them about their leadership styles and how they got to where they are. And then they'll report back as a team. That's their homework before they come to it. So I'm able to go out and do things in a grander level and bring it back to our associates, which is really what makes the difference. And as far as fans, like on Facebook and everything, I think to me we have the 800 associates, and to me that's probably the most important part of my career is that I can change some lives, hopefully in a positive way. And if our company, all of us, I can teach that. Our mission is our purpose is to positively impact lives. So if I can teach that and 800 people meet and make one person impacted positively in a day, that's 800 people. And if we do that over a year, that's like 250,000 people that have been positively impacted. And it's just me doing it once a day. And if everybody else does it once a day, we're gonna impact the world.
Well, I think what I'm hearing is that you have the philosophy in your business of your employees come first.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take care of them, then they'll take care of the guests.
Did I tell you that? I don't know if I did, but that's pretty exactly. That's a Marriott, Mr. Marriott Senior, the first Mr. Marriott, and then the second Mr. Marriott. That's you take care of the associates will take care of the guests, and the guests will keep coming back. And we believe the same thing. And I think it's not a Marriott thing. We think Marriott stole it from us, but I think actually Mr. Marriott he's 90, so probably we didn't. I'm not that old.
Right.
But I think that philosophy is great, and Conrad Hilton has similar type things. And so it's something that the great leaders believe in, and they participate in. They know that that's important. I mean, we can do everything we want for the guests, but if our people aren't happy, it's not going to come across to the guests.
No, because in a lot of tourism destinations, you have a beautiful setting, but if the people aren't friendly and welcoming, then that cancels out all the natural beauty.
Yeah, to me, I love to see an associate that really goes out of their way to do something for a guest. And because you think about it, it's like, well, how much does it take to do that? People nowadays, if you just look up and smile, they're happy. You don't have to do a lot to under promise and over deliver. You could say, look, they're not thinking much, but if you just are nice. But then we have some associates just go out of their way to do stuff. They They form a relationship with people. They welcome them back. They ask about their kids. They go out and they buy something for the guests. The guy likes cigars. My daughter she works both my kids work in the business, and she wanted to take care of Mr. Rice, who said he knows he smokes cigars. So we were down in Tampa, the cigar area. And she, can we get Mr. Rice a cigar? So she brought him back. But that's just one example of probably hundreds of people in our company that do that kind of thing. And not just our company, a lot of companies. But to me, that's what's going to change the world. And wouldn't you, if somebody smiles at you at Starbucks, don't you feel good?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we are conditioned from the moment we're born and our mother is smiling in our face. We're a newborn baby and we look up and there's this adoring person who's gazing into our eyes and smiling. And from that moment on, that's what we crave. We crave having somebody look at us and feel like we are the most amazing human on the planet.
Well, if you listeners could see Nancy right now, she's got this smile, her eyes are twinkling. That's exactly what you're saying. That makes a difference. I think people worry about the way we get automated in the business, and like in the hotel business, you can check in online before you get there, so you don't have to get in line. You can choose your room, and now with most of our branded properties, you can use your room key, so you can check in and say, I want a room key on my phone. So you can do all of that, and they say, well, doesn't that take away from the personal interaction? And it would, but when you think about it, when you check into a hotel, what do? Checking in? Yes. Credit card? Do this, do that. So it's transactional. It's not helpful. So now we can take those same people and put them in a mode where they can be like a concierge, or they can say, how's your family, Mr. Rice? It's good to see you again. What's new in your life? You can tell a business traveler says, give me my key. I want to get out of here. And you adjust to it. But other people just want to come and listen and talk.
Oh, absolutely.
So technology doesn't have to be fearful as long as you replace it with some kind of good service.
That's right.
Good fun.
That's right. And if the technology doesn't work, you need a human there to help compensate,
absolutely,
help fix it. I know that if I'm doing business travel and something doesn't work, or gosh, if I lose my phone, we were just talking about if we lose our phone, how everything falls apart. I'd rather lose my wallet than my phone.
I was just doing 2 days ago, I was down in Salem, Mass, and went to Salem State, and he asked us to do a little presentation to his first-year students in hospitality. So we did that, and I get there 45 minutes early, just like I got here early, and I said, I just want to check on the technology piece. He said, we're fine. He said, we'll just hook it up and we'll go. I said, okay. I said, I would want to get a couple minutes. He said, no, you're fine. We get in there. He couldn't get it. He had to call students up. He couldn't get it. So we just winged it. I want to show our company videos. I don't think I ever told you. We do some videos where every year we do something different. And, as a CEO, people, I don't want to be on Undercover Boss. I want people to know me. So, but we did. I was Bruno Mars in Uptown Funk, and I'm not that great a dancer, but I had fun. I had outfits on. They were crazy. When people see that kind of stuff, so first of all, I make with this 40 people in those videos. So I'm visiting hotels doing that. So they see me at the hotels and having fun with me. And then they get to see it over time. And so they become now I've set a pace. Every year I got to have a different video. And 2 Bruno Mars, 1 Justin Timberlake, and 1 Jason Mraz.
Wow.
I'll send you one.
Yeah. You're talented.
Well, I don't know. We have fun.
Well, plus you're the Muffin Man.
I was the original Muffin. Well, I
How
never
did
really
that
made
come about?
Well, we had an advertising firm way back 30 years ago. And the guy said, muffins are a forte. We got to play that up. So we said, okay. And he said, well, we'll make some placemats for kids to color. We'll put a Muffin Man on there. I said, okay. He said, maybe, we could march in parades. And I looked at him. I said, huh. And he said, well, we put white jackets and white hats and giant whips and spoons and a giant muffin. And I said, okay. And he looked at me like, well, shit, that guy's gonna do it. So it just kind of took off. And, we were in a number of festivals like the Yarmouth Clam Festival. There's like 50,000 people that show up at that thing. So I'm walking down the street. I've got my kids and anybody I can grab to be in the marching Muffin Man. And I'd be the lead Muffin Man, and I'd be like the military cadence. Do you know the Muffin Man? And everybody behind me would say, yes, we know the Muffin Man. And we'd march up and down the street. People cheering. We get the crowd going. And people, it's been 25 years, probably 20 years since I've done it. People still ask me, I didn't see you in the parade this year. I said, I haven't done it in 20 years, but it had an impact. So those crazy ideas. So that I think the guy who did that was our advertising agent thought he was too crazy for us, but he wasn't.
That was brilliant because Honestly, I always think of you as the
I
Muffin
know.
Man,
I still,
and I never even saw you in a parade.
yeah,
But I just because I think you used to sign your emails as the
I
Muffin
did
Man.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that really made an indelible impression
Well,
on
I
my
think, you know,
mind.
you can impress people in a lot of different ways, but you know, if you impress them and they have fun and they remember you, like in a good way, that's what you want. You don't want to be the screaming boss that yells at people or the guy who kicks a guest out of the hotel or the restaurant. And you know, if you can impress people, they're going to remember you in the long run, and you can impact someone's life.
Exactly. I mean, you want people to know, like, and trust you. And the important thing is that trust, because they're not going to want to do business with you if they don't trust you.
Absolutely. People do business with people they know, like, and trust.
That's
Yeah.
right. Exactly. So, how has your network helped to advance your career?
I think, as I said, it's not, I was afraid that I was using people because of what my father had said. But that wasn't the case. It's really allowed me to learn from people who had a lot more knowledge or skills or abilities in a certain way. I could choose from mentors. I could choose from people that I like about one thing about one person but didn't like about them. And I could utilize and build my own self, who I was, and help me solidify the kind of person I wanted to be and then become that person. And I think at some point in your career, for me anyway, and I think a lot of people, is you kind of say you got to stop that just reaching for the stars. You can start giving back. Now I still reach. I mean, I got a picture with Chris Nassetta, CEO of Hilton, the other day, and I spent some time with Arnie Sorensen, the CEO of Marriott. I love still doing that kind of thing, but what I can do is now I can bring it closer to home, and I can do the same thing to someone else, and that to me is it has even more joy that someone comes up to me and says something like that. You know, and I know what I feel like with starry eyes when I'm looking at the CEO of the two major companies in the country. And if I can be something for someone else and make them feel good about it, and they know I just shook hands with the CEO, they feel good. You know, and I think one of the things that a little story that I write birthday cards to all our associates. And again, it was easy when we had a couple of hotels, but it's a little bit more when you have 800 associates. And with turnover, that's like 1,000 birthday cards. And so someone else puts them together for me. But I sign it. I can't just say Sean, and I can't just say happy birthday, Sean. So I say something. I mean, some of the things are similar with 800. You kind of forget, you know, I'm doing 30, 40, 60, 80 birthday cards on a Saturday morning. But and every time I look at them, I go, oh, that's a big pile. But then I think back, I say, I get a call from associates that leaves a message, Sean, thank you. The birthday card meant a lot. You know, and they're calling the associate, calling the CEO. You know, that's a good thing. They feel comfortable. So I walk into a hotel and I have 2 or 3 people say, hey, I got a birthday card. Thank you. And I just hope they don't say, I remember what you said, because I'm not with 800, I won't. But I think the one that impacted me the most was when a kid told me that, he said, Sean, I just want to let you know that it was my birthday. Obviously, it was my birthday. And I always go to my mailbox and I look because I know my mom's going to send me a birthday card. And he said, I opened the mailbox on my birthday and there was no birthday card there from her. But there was one there from you. I said, and he said, and what's more is my girlfriend had just broken up with me that day. So the only bright spot I had was that birthday card. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's worth 800 cards to get something like that and change someone and help them through a day.
Yeah. And what happened to his mother's card?
I don't know if she knows that happened. I hope she's not a listener.
Yeah, right, exactly. Maybe he didn't thank his mother the previous year.
Well, yeah, that's right. So he's maybe started thanking me now. Yeah.
Right.
I don't need 800 thank you notes from our people for that. But it does feel good to go through that.
What would be your one piece of advice for someone who's just starting out in their career?
I think find out what's important to you. You know, don't focus on just the diamonds and the dollars. Focus on something that's really important. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to get rich. You don't have to become a CEO. Unless, I mean, that can be part of what you do, but have something deeper, something that really makes a difference in your life and in the lives of others. And when you do that, then something else drives you. For those days you have to work 16-hour a day, which I mean, my family still does that. And I do too. Mine's not the physical labor that some of them have to do, but if you have something that really drives you, it makes it easier. And if you don't, then you're just working for $1 or working for something you're not going to feel that great. So I'd say find out what's really important and then raise your hand. Whenever you're in a career, raise your hand, and don't just raise your hand and say, yeah, I want to do something as a suck up. Choose something. Find a hole in the company and fill it. If there's something that needs to be done, just say, I'll take it on. Everybody in our company who's grown through the ranks has done it through taking on more responsibility in the current role. If you're a front desk person, you keep taking on other tasks, and all of a sudden someday you're going to become a front office manager, and everyone's going to say, well, of course they should be. They've been doing the work already. Same thing to a general manager. Same thing with me. That's how I did it. Every job I did, I was one step ahead of what I was getting paid for or doing. And it did pay off. It's like that giving first and not expecting. If someone comes in that company and all they want to do is rise through the ranks and make more money, every time you give me a raise, I'll do more. It should be the other way around. It should be you giving. So if someone can raise their hand, do the work before it's asked of you, and then find out what's important to you, they'll have great careers.
That's right, exactly. And if you become a leader at an early age, I think it will stand you in good stead.
Absolutely. And you can continue to learn. You follow other leaders and learn from other leaders.
I was just thinking the other day about how I started an organization called the Go-Getters when I was working at a summer camp in New Hampshire when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And they still have that was 1979, and they still have the Go-Getters Club.
You ought to have a reunion.
Yeah, I know. I should, of all of the go-getters that have come through the camp in those 40 years. But yeah, I think I'm pretty proud that
That's great.
organization is still going on at Camp Merrow Vista in New Hampshire. So, Sean, is there a resource such as a book, a website, or an app that you have found helpful, and why?
Outside of the people, I still think that my best resource are people. I heard Doris Kearns Goodwin. She spoke at one of the conferences I just came from, and her books are 1,000 pages. No way, unless it's big pictures and big letters, I'm not going to read it. But I've listened to her podcast. Thanks to you. I never did a podcast till I knew you had yours. You taught me how to, I saw your podcast thing. I said, I got to do this. I got to follow this thing, and I want to be, I want to listen. Maybe I'll do my own someday, but I want to. So my first podcast I listened to was one of yours, one of your first ones.
Wow, that's really
and I've been doing it since,
touching.
and I love it. But because I'm not a great reader and I drive a lot, so podcasts are great. But in that book, she talked about 4 presidents and their leadership skills and what they do, and it was really cool because they said, what they learned, how they learned from different people, and each one person was a great reader, one person was a great orator, one president was just great at bringing people together and listening to all kinds of ideas and then formulating his own, and he was a people listener, and that's how he learned. So I think for me, that's where I learned most. But as I said, I'm not a great reader, but I did read. A friend of mine suggested I read How to Win Friends and Influence People back in the 80s. And by the way, I was at a bank meeting, and the guy next to me said, "Hey, I've been in this business for 5 decades." And I thought, wow, he doesn't look that old. And then I started going with my fingers, 1, 2, 3. Oh, shoot, me too. Next year will be my 5th decade in the business. No, the decades are not the same as I've been in 37 years, but I thought, oh my God, I'm old too. I forgot where I was going with that. So I've learned, but I think with the learning from the book, it's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it was so impactful to me. I've read it 5 times, and it's got a lot of small letters and big, thick book.
Yeah.
But it was marvelous. And I learned from that. And I've suggested to many a leader, when they say, what should I do? And I said, read that book. It'll teach you how to deal with people, how to understand people, and how to work with them, not in a bad sense, all in good stuff, and how to answer questions and how to turn things around to help the person rather than thinking of yourself. That's why I was nervous about this podcast. It's more fun to talk about, get someone else talking and listening to me talking. But so I think that book has done a lot for me. And the people that have read that I've suggested to have risen in our company. And the people, everyone, young people always ask me, and they won't read it, but they don't necessarily raise. So I think it's a career changer for someone and a life changer.
Well, that's really remarkable, and I'm glad you recommended that. We'll put a link to that in our show notes.
Great. And now there's a newer version. It was back when you'd write letters and you hear back in 3 weeks. That's when he wrote it. It was back in the Steel days. And but now it's they have one now that talks about email etiquette and that kind of stuff. So it's a little more modernized.
Although I am a big advocate still of using handwritten thank you notes and sending them in the mail, because I think it's a way to differentiate yourself.
Absolutely. I have a tendency to do that. And I suggest that to all of our associates, all of our leaders, that they just write a note and don't send it to work. Send it to home. Because if the mail is a passé thing and you don't get that much. But if something came in the mail like that guy with the birthday card, I mean, it meant the world to him. And if someone gets a note from me with my first day of work, usually I do it with the leaders. I can't do it with all associates, but with our leaders, they'll get a note from me sometime within the first couple of weeks. It's just, hey, welcome to the team, and I look forward to earning your respect over the next year or the rest of your career.
That's awesome. I love that. So you really do use the mail, because you also send the birthday cards in the mail, and
yeah. And I think we just reordered our note cards, because I do that, and we have some that are just postcard style, and we have some that are notes, and it's just. And no one can read my handwriting. Most of the time, they spend time just trying to read it. They pass it around and see what Sean said, because they can't read
it. Sean, what are some of the best ways that PR Maven Nation can get in touch with you?
Call me, 207 865-6105. That's my office. And I'd be happy to chat with anybody. And obviously, you can reach me via email. It's on our website, www.mchg.com. And or follow me on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook or follow me on Facebook.
Or Snapchat.
I don't know how to connect with people on that, but sure, give me a try. If you can find me, go for it. I'll snap back. I just use that for silly stuff. But
yeah. Well, Sean Riley, it's been such a pleasure. I'm so glad that you contacted me and wanted to be on the podcast. It's been so much fun having you here today. And maybe we'll have to have you back.
Oh, I love it. I love doing it. And who was a mentor of mine for many years, it's about time I did something to pay you back.
Oh, thank you.
You are still younger, though. A mentor, but you did it as a young kid.
Have a great week, PR Maven Nation. That's it for this week's episode. I'd like to thank you for listening, and if you feel that you've gotten value out of today's conversation, consider leaving a 5-star review on iTunes or whatever app you're using to tune in. If you haven't subscribed yet, you should do so. I release a new episode each week, and subscribing will make sure you get an alert when there's a new episode. You can also join the PR Maven Nation by going to prmaven.com/nation and clicking join. It's free, and it's a great community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to learn and grow from one another. If you have an Alexa-enabled device, be sure to add the PR Maven Marketing Minute to your daily flash briefing menu. Thanks again for listening, and have a great rest of your week, PR Maven Nation.